Hi everyone, I'm Ollie. This is Criminolly, where we talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. And today I'm going to be talking about this book, Twisted Anatomy, which is a body horror short story anthology. So disclaimer first up, I was one of the editors of Twisted Anatomy. So it was a book that was produced by the team at Sci Fi and Scary.com, which is a website that I write reviews for. We decided to put together an anthology to raise money for charity. So all the proceeds from the book go to either the National Domestic Violence Hotline or the Pulmonary Hypertension Association. So two very worthy charities, and as I say, we're not making a penny out of this book. All the money goes to them. So what is it? So it's an anthology of body horror short stories. The stories range in length from flash fiction to kind of longer form short stories, and there's about, I think there's 29 stories in total in the book. Some will be from authors you may have heard of, so people like Cynthia Pelayo, Laurel Hightower, Hailey Piper have all contributed stories to it, and Laurel also wrote the foreword. And there's also writers you probably haven't heard of. So we did an open submissions policy for the book. We had dozens, if not hundreds, of submissions. I think it was certainly well over 100. And we then, read all of those submissions and gradually whittled it down to the 29 that ended up in the book. So this isn't a review of the book, because it didn't feel appropriate for me to review it, given that I was one of the editors of it. But when I say I think it's a good book, and I definitely do, that's me saying I think it's a good book, having read the stories that are in it multiple times. So not just once, but many times, as we went through the process of whittling the submissions down to the final book. So you get all sorts of different body horror themed stories in there. So some are more obviously body horror, shall we say, so things like vagina tentacles. There's a story about menstruation, which is quite interesting. There's a story about like mutant foreskins. So there's quite out there stuff in there, but there's also some much more subtle stories in there. Stories about not so much body horror, but body dysmorphia. So we've got a few stories in there from trans authors, which are really interesting. So there's a real variety of voices, shall we say, in the book. And all the stories I think are really good, but there's a great variety to the stories as well. So whatever your taste in horror, I think you'll find something in Twisted Anatomy to enjoy. It's available on Amazon. It's only available on Amazon, I should say, as well. So it's only a Kindle book. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so you can get it for free if you're a subscriber, and dip into it. So I think it's a great way to find new authors, because as I say, there's a lot of authors in there you probably haven't heard of, as well as a chance to experience stories by some quite well-known authors like Hailey, Cynthia and Laurel. Anyway, that was just a quick overview of the book. As I say, I didn't want to review it, having been one of the editors of it, but I do think it's a really good read, and it's a book I was very proud to, I'm very proud to be able to say I was part of it, particularly as it raises money for charity. So yeah, I'll leave a link to the book on Amazon US and UK in the description to the video. Please do check it out if you fancy a bit of body horror. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheerio.